Today I want to talk about all the ways you can extend Godot's editor with things like custom visualizations, context menu items, inspector widgets, and more. Because these features are super powerful and you can do all of this without leaving the editor. Here we can see a visualization of a player's jump arc, which changes in real time as we adjust the parameters of the jump. This is all done using the tool annotation, which allows any script to run directly inside the editor. If we add this tool annotation to our player script, standard methods like ready, process, and draw will be called in editor just like they would be in game. If you want some code to run only in the editor, or vice versa, you can use engine.isEditorHint. Another really easy way to run code in the editor is using editor scripts. These are best suited for one-off tasks like automating a tedious change that you need to make across many scenes. Simply write a script that extends editor script, add the tool annotation from before, implement the run method, and then hit File, Run directly from the script editor. That's it. If you want your script to modify the scene that's currently active, you can use editorinterface.getEditedSceneRoot. For example, this script will find and delete all reference rect nodes in the active scene, since these are just intended for debugging. Finally, if we do modify the scene, we have to call editorinterface.markScene as unsaved. Now, if we want to modify the editor interface, we'll need to create a plugin. Fortunately, this is super easy. Just go to Project Settings, Plugins, and hit Create New Plugin. Give it a name, hit Create, and Godot will automatically create the required files in an add-ons folder of the file tree. Once created, plugins can be toggled on and off through that same menu. Editor plugins can do all kinds of things, but let's start by creating a custom dock. You can see it here on the left, and this is basically our own panel that we can drag around, and it can contain whatever custom controls you want. So the first thing to do is create a scene, and here's where you can add all the components that you want. In our case, we just have a single button. Then in our editor plugin, in Enter Tree, we first instantiate the scene that we've just created, add it to an editor dock, and there's various different layout options that you can use there. And finally, we call add dock to add it to the editor. And then in Exit Tree, we just have to remove the dock as well. And this makes sure that when we untick the plugin, the dock goes away. If you can't see the dock straight away, you might just need to toggle the plugin off and on again. And that's all there is to it. You can have your own dock with whatever components you want and hook them up to your own custom logic. Custom docks are useful, but what if we wanted to add our own controls and functionality to the inspector? For example, we might want a button that auto-calculates the level of an enemy based on its stats. For this, we'd create an inspector plugin. Now, despite the name, these aren't the same as editor plugins. They can't be toggled on and off in the plugins menu. Instead, these are created by extending a special class called Editor Inspector Plugin. Much like the custom dock, our inspector plugin is initialized through our editor plugin. And just like before, we also have to clean up when the plugin is deactivated. The first method we need to implement is canHandle. This should return true whenever our inspector plugin cares about the object being inspected. In this example, we only want the plugin to apply to enemy resources. I've just defined an enemy resource to be a bunch of stats, including the level that we want to auto-calculate. And the next method that's important is parseProperty. This method basically governs what Godot should do for each property that's displayed within the inspector. And in our case, we've said if we're displaying the level property, then we create an enemy level editor property, which is a custom class, and we call add property editor. Every time you want to customize a property in the inspector, you have to extend editor property. The documentation has a really nice example of this, where they create some controls, in this case a button, on the fly, and add it as a child. And that works great, but creating all your controls programmatically isn't always very intuitive. So I'm going to show a slightly more complicated example, where we actually instantiate a scene instead. So I've created my scene here, and this just has a spin box, which lets us set the level manually, and our auto-calculate button. In our editor property class then, we instantiate that scene, connect to a few signals that I've defined within that scene, and we call addChild to actually add the scene to the inspector. To give our GUI a chance to initialize, we use callDeferred to call this onGUIReady function. And in our case, we're just calling addFocusable on a few different elements, which is part of the inspector plugin mechanism, but you don't need to worry too much about that. I will just give a warning, which is you have to be quite careful when you're working with editor plugins, because if I didn't guard against this and I tried to add a focusable element that was null, it would just crash the whole editor. So you do have to be quite careful, and if you run into any problems, you can actually add some debug lines, just like you would in your game code, and it will print to the output panel. So to summarize, all of this is really just setting up the GUI. Then we have update property. Now this is again part of the inspector plugin mechanism. And this gets called by Godot, and it's how we actually get a reference to the object that's being edited, which in our case is an enemy resource. And all we're doing here is we're saving a reference to that enemy resource so that we can use it within this class. And we're refreshing the UI. This flag here is just a safety mechanism to make sure that we don't make changes to the object internally while it's being updated externally. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Our GUI is very light, it's just emitting signals to the editor property, and when the level is changed or when auto-calculate is pressed, we call setLevelInternal to actually update the level of the enemy that we're editing, and then crucially we call emitChanged. And that's what tells the inspector that the value of the level has actually been changed by this property. So it's a little bit verbose, but I really like the separation between the editor property class that handles the logic and integrates with the inspector, and the scene, which we can edit directly in Godot's editor, and it basically just functions like any other scene would. So what that looks like when we bring it all together is the level property, rather than displaying a spin box like all these others, is now displaying our custom scene. We can set the level manually, or we can press auto-calculate and the level will be auto-calculated from the stats below. This is a really powerful mechanism and you can do all kinds of things. You pretty much have full control over this inspector panel. You can even hide certain properties. So we might say if name equals health, return true. By returning true, we're telling Godot, hey, we've handled this property, but we haven't actually added a property editor. So in effect, that will actually just hide that value from the inspector. Last but not least, there are two special methods, parseBegin and parseEnd. And in here, you can add custom controls to the inspector. So to show you what that looks like, I'm just going to add a couple of labels. And now when we open our enemy resource, we can see that those labels have been added. So you're not just limited to editing the properties of an object, you can also add custom controls and do whatever you like with them. The next thing I want to show off works in a very similar way to the inspector plugins, and that is context menu plugins. So again, we initialize these from our editor plugin and clean them up just like before. We create a class that extends from editor context menu plugin, and we override Popup menu. And I'll talk you through this in a second, but here's what it looks like in action. So down here in the file system, we have this wizard image. And if we right click on that, we can see I've added this process image context menu item. So pop-up menu receives an array of paths. That's basically a list of all the files that are selected. So if we had 3 files selected, then our context menu item won't actually appear because I'm requiring that we only have 1 item selected. Similarly, it will only appear if we select a PNG image. So if I right click on any other file, you won't see that context menu item appear. And this is the crucial line which adds the context menu item. So this function is what's going to be called when we click on that context menu item. In this example, process image doesn't really do anything. It will print the image size, but you could do anything here. I've used this in the past to crop images to a certain size, or you could make your images conform to a certain color palette. I should also point out that context menus don't just work in this file system doc. There's all sorts of slots you can use. So you could have them appear in the scene tree, for instance, or in the script editor. There are various different context menus that work in a very similar way. But let's say you did modify your image in some way. After modifying a resource, then sometimes you need to restart the editor before it picks up the change. And this is where we're making use of another neat feature called Popup Dialog. So you'll see when I press process image, it's going to say Godot needs to restart to refresh modified files, press OK to restart now or cancel to restart later. And if we do hit OK, that is going to restart the editor. which I'm not going to do right now, but that's just using this editor interface.restart editor function. We've covered the tool annotation, editor scripts, editor plugins, custom docs, inspector plugins, and context menu plugins. Now, this isn't everything, but I'll link to the documentation in the description if you want to learn a bit more. And hopefully this has given you enough of an understanding of the plugin system that you can easily pick up the rest. All of the code that I've shown in this video will also be on GitHub, so feel free to check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.